It's one of the most well-known songs of the 1990s. It was the most played song on the radio for months, and it has a fascinating backstory. Now, maybe it's all the years I spent in radio, or maybe it's just that I love a good mystery, because I do. But songs like the one we're talking about this time always get my attention. The ones with a story that's a little perplexing at first. As popular as this song was, and really still is, most people have no idea that the version they know and love wasn't the first version. It wasn't even the second version, or the third. But somehow, when it came around again, a different voice, a different feel, that's when it became a song no one could ignore. And like any good mystery, we eventually work our way around to the question of why? Why does a song not work for one artist, or in this case, 3 artists, but becomes a smash hit for another? Well, it's all coming up on this edition of Beyond the Tracks. I'm Dom Testa. It was 1998, and this was one of the biggest hits I played on my radio show. Torn by Natalie Imbruglia was the most played song on American radio for nearly 3 months. And yet, here's a fact that might surprise you. I know it stunned me. It was never released as a single in the US. Now, that doesn't happen very often. There are a few examples of songs that everyone knows but were never hit singles. Songs like
Dear lady, can you hear the wind blow? And did you know your stairway lies on the whispering wind? Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. And I say, it's alright. She lies and says she's in love with him. Can't find a better man. She dreams in color.
But you know, each of those was written by the artists who performed them. Torn was different. Natalie didn't write it, and she wasn't the first person to record it. I laughed out loud at a meme that made the rounds on social media. It said, every 90s kid comes of age 3 times. 18th birthday, 21st birthday, and the day they find out Natalie Imbruglia's version of Torn is a cover. So let's go back to a point in this song's history that most people never knew existed. The first version showed up not in the US or in the UK, but in Denmark. In 1993, it was recorded by a Danish singer named Lise Sorensen. Even the title was different. Translated into English, it comes out as Burned or Burnt. Check it out. Yeah, it's the same melody, same basic structure, different language, maybe a different feel. It just never made it outside Denmark. Then, a couple years later, the song surfaced again. Now, 2 of the 3 people who wrote this song were members of an American rock band called Edna Swap. And in 1995, they recorded their own version. More edge to it, more bite. Some have described it as having an almost angry feel. Well, you decide.
Wide awake and I can see the perfect sky is torn. I'm all out of faith. This is how I feel. Cold and I'm ashamed. Bound and broken.
Listening to that today, you might think the same thing I did. This Should Have Worked. I mean, that song is good. Edna Swap's version, it's good. I'd never heard it until recently, and I immediately added it to one of my playlists. But like the Danish version, it did not break through. Then in 1996, Norwegian-American singer Trina Rein covered it on one of her albums. It had some airplay in Norway, but not much love outside Scandinavia. In my opinion, Trina's version sounds maybe closest in style to the version you probably know best.
I thought I saw a man brought to life. He was warm, he came around like he was dignified. He showed me what it was to cry.
So, 3 versions, 3 different artists, no breakthrough. And this is when 22-year-old Natalie Imbruglia shows up. She grew up in Australia, left school at 16 to pursue an acting career. And sure enough, she landed a role on one of Australia's most popular soap operas, a show called Neighbours. Now, this was the same show that turned out to be the launching pad for people like Margot Robbie, Liam Hemsworth, Guy Pearce, Russell Crowe, and one other actor who pivoted into music, Kylie Minogue. You know, Kylie's crossover success was all the evidence Natalie needed that it was possible. And here's what really impresses me about her story. Natalie had been approached with record deals as a teenager, and she turned them both down, feeling she was too young and too vulnerable to the ways a young performer can be taken advantage of. Think about how wise that is. How many teenagers offered a shot at being a pop star would have said no? Well, once she had a few years of performing under her belt, she quit the TV show in Australia, moved to London, and at 22 was ready to make her move in music. She signed a deal and recorded her debut album, Left of the Middle, and it was released in late 1997. Now, here's where the Torn connection comes in. Remember, we said 2 members of Edna Swap helped write the song, but the third credited writer was Phil Thornley, who just happened to be one of the producers on Natalie's album. I'm sure he suggested that it might be perfect for her. It had already been a single 3 times. What if they tried it in the UK? So they did. Torn was the first single from her album, and this time, what do you know? It caught fire. It rocketed all the way up to number 2 on the British charts, selling more than 1 million copies. So, naturally, with that success, you try it in America, right? No. Torn by Natalie Imbruglia was never released as a single in the US. Instead, a radio station in LA got an import copy and started playing it. Listeners fell in love with it. A few more stations picked it up, then a few more, until every pop station in the country had it in rotation. Torn became the most played song in America for nearly 3 months. Now, here's the strange part. Because it wasn't technically a single, Billboard wouldn't put it on their charts. Their rule was that airplay alone was not enough. They relied heavily on single sales. Now, listeners complained loudly enough that Billboard eventually changed their policy, but by then the song had passed its peak. The most played song in the country, are you ready for this? Never cracked the top 40. That's just dumb. So 4 versions of the same song, all of them well done, and yet one of them connected in a way the others didn't. So what changed? Natalie didn't reinvent the song. I mean, the melody, structure, and lyrics are largely the same. And that Edna Swap version, I'll say it again, really should have worked. So what's the difference between a song people like and a song they can't get out of their heads? Compare those two. With Edna Swap, Anne Preven's vocals feel like, I guess you could say, emotional chaos. Some tension, maybe a little anger, and it works, don't get me wrong. But with Natalie's version, there's something else. Clarity. Same lyrics, different psychology. As Phil Thornley, one of the co-writers of the song and Natalie's producer, later said, sometimes you have to wait for all the elements to come together. In this case, the power of the song, Natalie's voice, and the fact that she was an actor, able to kill it visually. And then there's the message. Think about the music video. She sings, "I'm all out of faith. This is how I feel." And the walls of the room, well, they are just literally collapsing around her. Natalie took the same song and she offered a different emotional reinterpretation. And I think that's why this version connected. Hey, we've all had moments where the walls seem to be falling in, right? Where we feel all out of faith in the people around us, in a relationship, in ourselves. Sometimes a song doesn't become a hit when it's written. It becomes a hit when it's understood. I'll leave you with this question. Who really owns the soul of a song? Is it the writers? Is it the first person to perform it? Or is it maybe the artist behind the version everyone remembers? I'm not sure, but I tend to think the answer might be something else entirely. Maybe the soul of a song, especially one as emotionally charged as Torn, belongs to the listener. How we hear it, how we personally interpret it. And you know, I'd bet most songwriters wouldn't want it any other way, would they? A shout out to the 3 people who wrote this incredible song: Anne Preven, Scott Cutler, and Phil Thornley. I've put together a Spotify playlist for this episode, Volume 4 of Beyond the Tracks. In that, you'll find all 4 versions of Torn that I've highlighted, several more songs from Natalie, and the other tracks mentioned today. You'll find the link in the show description along with the show notes. Hey, next time on Beyond the Tracks, the top 7 albums of the 70s. Oh, that is guaranteed to upset someone whose favorite did not make the list. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and share this with anyone who loves the stories behind music. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I'm Dom Testa.